Good afternoon, David.
Jack, we've already had a very good talk on many subjects.
Yes, we did.
This is no art, no life, and there is no life if there's no art. And if that sounds elitist or if it sounds arrogant, so be it, because let me tell you, you would agree with me instantly if you put art as a priority. What do you mean by art? What is art? It's a lot of things. It's literature, it's painting.
Well, I think regardless of the medium, and maybe even if one doesn't even have a medium, it is making metaphorical sense of the random information that fate hands to us. And it's the idea that,
My God, that's deep. Wow.
well, I don't know how deep it is, but that's what I make of it. And that the artist feels a need to document that metaphorical interpretation. And that's what you do in your drawing and paintings, and in your rich life as a pianist and as a writer. I believe you are a person who is, when I say unsettled, I don't mean disturbed, but unsettled.
Oh, many times I am.
Oh, aren't we all? But unsettled in the sense that something has been presented to you by experience that needs to be reconciled. And I think in our past conversations we've placed Beethoven at or near the top of the idea of a reconciler. That A can be made to equal B, no matter how painful B may seem as a consequence or as a surprise after A. That we are always given a gift, regardless of what happens in our sequence that's presented to us, to reconcile the seemingly irreconcilable. And that's what art stands for. It's the idea of saying, there's nothing that can be given to me that I can't plow under and make part of my next yield.
My next yield, and that's what each new work is.
Yes, it is.
And what's so extraordinary is every time you do an article, or I did on styrofoam, something I like very much. These are all just pastel lines.
Yes.
To me, it's many things in there that people could see, but that's not what I intended. I intended just lines, and maybe only 4 colors. And again, I like it a lot because I think it has a tremendous composition and a certain kind of life. I don't know if we're seeing it at all, but
Yes, actually, I see them over my shoulder in the picture.
So I did that at, well, in fact, in such discomfort while I was, not only physical, but the way I was doing it, and the way I was holding it, because it's styrofoam, and on and on. But the only thing I said afterwards, after I said I like this, later in the evening I put 2 other lines, 2 little lines that needed to be there for me. No one's ever going to know I did that. And so what do I say? I say, I brought something new into the world that had never been here before.
Yes.
I don't think it's someone else's work. I don't think it's anyone but me. And I don't remember, oh yes, I remember, all week I was filled with the desire to do something on that size styrofoam, because I like working in it.
Styrofoam, is it in part because of its texture? Like when you invoke it, right away I feel it between my fingers.
Yeah.
Is that part of the motivation?
The texture, absolutely. And if you use spray paint, you can put holes in it like that. And this, which looks like watercolor in a certain way, is really with glitterata, which you have to see in the sunlight.
Yes.
The big one, okay, you're not seeing that on the screen. And anyway, so the point is they all have their history with you. And just as an article, I completed recently the article I wanted to do for the Wall Street Journal, but I couldn't get it in the amount of words that they gave me, and so I did a completely different kind of article on it for the New Criterion, which is a magazine that has so many worthwhile articles. It's published monthly, and I think that if you want to read on the Hummer Clavier, that may be out, I think, in the June issue.
Okay.
They haven't sent me the material to look at yet, or whatever changes they may have had. I hope they don't. art is so complicated that, as Bernard Berenson was asked, well, why don't you do something on modern art? He said, well, I haven't even finished learning anything about Florentine drawings, things like that. It's you need a lot of lifetimes.
Yes.
I don't know if you have been back here many times before in a different life, and I don't believe in any of that, by the way.
Nor do I. But when you say back here, you mean back here on our planet?
On this horrible planet. This planet's getting so bad. Look at there are bars. These buildings are over 100 years old. They're falling apart. Every West End Avenue. There's not been anything built of any interest at all, or certainly not of a comfortable bourgeois environment that people could live in any longer. At the back, there's called a maid's room.
Yes.
What am I supposed to do? So am I supposed to get an illegal alien there and live in that tiny room? That was called a maid's room on West End, and they all have it.
Yes.
Well, I have books in it, books in it, and books in it, and paintings.
Yes.
But if anyone wants to, live in that room, and since we have at least 300 or 400 million people watching us, if you want to come and cook every day, clean, and because I have a lot of things to do, everything, and I don't do any of them. So
I see.
If you want free rent, let me know.
Okay, that's a remarkable offer. Do you really mean that?
No.
I didn't think so.
what am I going to do with someone, anyway.
Well, David, before I forget, may I ask you, as an inquiring mind, for a couple of weeks we've been deferring, hearing your tale of your second lunch with Arthur Rubinstein. And I have still been wondering after the details of that. You told that wonderful story of the first meeting that you had with him, and also his wife at that lunch. And then a second lunch came about.
At La Côte Basque, you mean the first one?
Yes,
But the wife was never with us. No, she was having. I burned her when we were leaving.
That's what I meant.
Yes, with my silly cigarette. Oh, did I love that addiction, though. I mean, I smoked and smoked and smoked.
You know what's interesting, David? We've talked a little bit about this. I can imagine maybe the drive because I'm human. Very hard for a person who's never smoked to imagine what it is to crave smoking. Can you describe that?
Sure. It's in the word crave.
Okay.
You crave it. Your bloodstream wants that nicotine.
Okay.
It's a powerful drug. Every drug is powerful. If you are addicted to alcohol, you're craving that. You can't stand not going without it. And so addiction is one of the worst things in the world. I was just seeing a little series on TV called The Shrink Next Door. 8 half-hour episodes of like a Jewish milieu, but that was not the point. The point is of how this psychiatrist took this very weak man of about his age and had complete power over him. And the whole thing was how this man was totally addicted. He gave up all the world. His business went down, his relationship with his family, everything collapsed because of the addiction with this psychiatrist who just couldn't get enough of him, because it's usually a dual thing. And it reminded me of a friend of mine at Juilliard who, he was really, to be frank, crazy about me. He was just a young boy of 18, as I was, and he never had a friend in his life, only parents telling him to practice and that you're better than Arthur Rubinstein.
Okay.
Getting back there.
Yes.
You know how parents can be with the piano.
Yes.
Oh, God. And I just loved this guy, and he was addictive. He had already begun his career as a drinker. But when I met him, he just bonded to me because we were both pianists, and my personality, quite dominant at times, worked very well with his kind of temperament, where he just, what I said was just so good. It may have been very bad,
Mhm.
it may have been very good, but the point is, he could have become incredibly addicted to me if I did not almost instantly in the relationship understand that I could have power over him and that I must not. I was young enough to say that. I'm proud that I had that in me. And that when I saw the series, I kept remembering how many times I could have done harm to this young person.
How does one temper the power that one could have without alienating the friend?
You just have to be very, very cautious and clever, and you have to know that they are weak. In the long run, his weakness for alcohol did him in. I had tried to get him to Alcoholics Anonymous, and then, you know, the best I got out of that was I took him there, and I actually sat through a session, and I said, everything you need is here. And then, you know, he couldn't make the 90 days or any of that, and he blamed me. You tell me I'm an alcoholic. I'm not. You know, of course he was, and always was, even from 18. But no, I tempered that, and I've always tempered it. Like later on, it was reaffirmed by Krishnamurti and his true teachings of things. Oh no, I am not to be followed, like the Buddha. Don't follow me. If you do, kill me. Never follow anyone, just as last week we talked about never put anyone's head higher than your own.
Yes.
And that's where I did that story on Rubinstein, where I had put his head so high. Oh my God, I was with Rubinstein for 4 hours, and then I burned the wife,
Yes.
putting her fur coat on fur, and everything changes in the world. You know, now you can't have a fur coat, right?
Right, yes.
Or something like that. And getting back to your question, was the next time we didn't talk about the fact that he gave his last Carnegie Hall.
We,
I
not
talked
on
about
our,
you to it. Yeah, I talked about you.
we spoke about it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not here.
Okay, so in 1976, I believe, he died in 82 at 96. He was already blind. And I had gone to his last recital at Carnegie Hall. It wasn't billed that way, but I knew it was. And he played the Fantasiestucke of Schumann, which I do not understand why everyone has to play Carnival or Kreisleriana when this is one of the great cycles in the world. Opus 12 of Schumann. If you're a pianist, start working on some of them, please. They need to be played. They had great Vogue once, and no one plays them. Rubinstein's recording is magnificent. In der Nacht is the greatest masterpiece of this set of I think 9 pieces. So I'm going to the Rubinstein concert. I don't remember who I was with. All I know is that afterwards he made a speech saying that he loved playing at Carnegie Hall. It was a marvelous thing for him and through his career. I knew that was it. I had known from other people that he was, you know, he could only had a little peripheral vision. And I never again knew him from after that earlier long session at La Côte Basque. I never, after giving him the talk we had and burning his wife, and then the letter that he wrote to me, burning is insignificant, my piano technique is that from the first story?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yes. So I had finally forced the issue and got myself on the air because the people that owned me, meaning my bosses, wouldn't let me on. That's what they said, that when I was hired I would be on the air. I mean, because that's what I wanted to be. I didn't want to just program 168 hours for everyone else. I wanted something in the world for myself to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And there were shows that they had bought, you know, from different places, or orchestras but they were not going to give me my place.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they want power over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a lie. I was hired under a lie, and it took a long time to finally get what I wanted. And when I did, I took it. And if you don't take it, those are the things you regret.
Mm.
You don't necessarily mean that you're going to be triumphant in it, but at least you take what was something you wanted to take.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember going to work, and I would take the subway to 42nd, and I would take another train to Fifth Avenue and walk down, and I was always playing games with danger. Someone in my life says that I like danger, but it's danger like I like things at the edge and maybe it's going to fall over or something. But
Okay.
not real danger, I don't
Mhm.
care for.
Do you think really what that is the impulse to make sure things don't become static?
Yes, I don't even take the same way home the same time all the time. I
Yes.
walk in different directions.
Yes.
I have no sense of direction at all. You
Okay.
inherit your sense of direction.
Mm-hmm.
And my father had none. You could put him on Mars, he'd think he was on his, you know, at home.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I, so I remember, I mean, I had a theme song, as they called it, and it was Debussy's Dance, piano piece orchestrated by Ravel.
Mhm.
Marvelous orchestration. Better orchestration than a piano piece, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
And I always would get there, and Matt Edwards, my side man,
Mhm.
he's on the air, that's his shift,
Mhm.
11 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And get there, and I was almost always I knew exactly where the theme was because it would go on and on until I got there.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, I'm near the coda. I mean, I'm really late.
Mhm.
I like that kind of danger. I don't know why.
Okay.
And since I had almost total authority during that period of transition, where it had become from a rock and roll back to WNCN's classical format,
Mm-hmm.
it's a complicated world that was.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I was doing the Transcendental Etudes in Comparative Performance.
Mm.
I had done all of Chopin's works and about 1,300 recordings of all of the 169 works. Absolutely incredible.
Mhm.
I don't even think Nuch has all of these.
No, there are some of them. I know the programs that you're talking about. They had a different name. It didn't come under the heading of For the Love of Music, which comes later. There was a different name for those programs that you're talking
that's right,
about.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are on, is that right?
Some of them are there, where they have the comparative performances with your co-host, and you listen to recordings in
Yeah.
succession of the same
Well,
piece by
we-
different performers.
We didn't even have tape to record them because we were so poor coming back to reality after WQIV, a rock station where I was really rather vicious.
Mm.
The idea they wanted the ending of the station to be Fall Over Beethoven.
Oh, Roll Over Beethoven?
Roll Over
Yes,
Beethoven,
uh-huh.
imagine.
Yes.
And I made sure that the last piece was the Mozart Requiem, and it would go over time, and that also symbolically, you see how we live symbolically?
Yes.
That it was an unfinished work by Mozart, really.
Yes.
And to me, WNCN was unfinished. It would go on. And it was because of Kristen Booth Glenn
Okay.
that we really came back to the world. A
Okay.
lawyer who had become a Supreme Court justice, one of the most amazing and powerful women I've ever known.
Mm.
Kristen Booth Glenn.
Mhm.
She was quite young, and she loved that station, and she was not going to let the FCC off the hook when during that time you couldn't touch what they called a valuable format.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we did come back somehow, and so I had this amazing authority, which I took and put myself on the air.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't overdo it.
Do you remember what your very, very first program was?
Yes, yes. It was Sostakovich had died that day, August something in 1976 maybe, and
Okay.
so I put a Sostakovich program on, and the media were there. Hundreds of people were in the studio. It was a great live performance, and I've always loved live stuff because yes, the danger.
Yes.
The danger. I mean, you could just stop. I never am confident about what I'm going to say next.
But could it be, to play not maybe devil's advocate, but angel's advocate for you, maybe again is not danger. You say how we have to live, did you say symbolically or emblematically?
Yeah, we do live, yeah.
And that if we don't have a definitive medium, and we say that we have to have no art, no life, well, perhaps the person's medium is making sure that nothing is steady enough, arranged enough, so that there isn't room for the interpretation of the chance or chaotic to serve us symbolically, that we can have room for symbolic actions. Because if everything is too scheduled, too predictable,
it drives me crazy.
it will suppress the notion of living symbolically. So I think perhaps maybe there you were simply making your life the art.
Yes, and many a person in the world have said my real goal is to make my life art.
Yes.
Didn't someone say that, or didn't Oscar Wilde say, I put my genius into my life and my talent into my art?
Yes, what a wonderful qualification there. Yes.
I want to say that, yes, it's a interesting thing that of the moment is so great.
Yes.
And no longer do we have many people able to live in the moment outside of getting in their car and being trapped in a steel trap for 2 hours coming to the city to work.
Yes, because there may be an element of inescapable fate in a background setting in terms of life, birth, death, all of these factors. But in the moment, it does seem indisputable that there are moments where we can think there is freedom in the moment. A moment where I can turn left versus right, even if it's illogical, or because it would seem that fate would make sure that everything's in place that I turn right, I can then, perverse as it may be, turn left. So I think maybe the danger you talk about is an elevated notion of living symbolically.
Yes, I like that very much.
Okay.
And I also think that we want a little looser life than the life we lead.
Yes.
I mean, I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and I get an email saying it's rescheduled, and I call, and it is not rescheduled, and by the time I'm done, I'm wasted 20 minutes of my life.
Yes.
20 minutes means reading a whole page or two, right?
It does, yes.
I can't bear this over-organized telephone system where you one call is going to stagnate you for could be hours.
Yes.
So maybe that freshness is so important too. Anyway, so I get to the station. My dance is going forward. It's the middle section of it, and the Ravel transcription. If you don't know it's a 4-minute piece.
The music that's playing is the preamble before you come on
Yeah,
the air.
and
Yes.
it's basically I should be at work at 9 like everyone
Yes.
else, but I say no. I'm here all the time at night doing it. My programming is of such mystical means, that I made all of the people understand that what I was doing was the Wailing Wall, because I put everything on a wall.
Yes.
All 160. And people would come in. Remember, these were the days where you actually bought time. It was a commercial station.
Yes.
You'd say, there's David. He's working on the Wailing Wall. Every key has to be right.
Yes.
I brainwashed everyone, but not that I didn't do it or meant it, but I
Yes.
made sure that they understood the great theatrical thing that was going on as well.
Yes.
You have to protect your job in certain ways. And you don't want to just be the editor back there. You want to also be creative. So I thought my programming the most creative that had ever been on radio. And I had that little dot, 1 hour in the 168. And So here's Rubinstein playing at Carnegie Hall, and it was the Opus 31 number 3, I think Carnival, Fantasy Stücke, and some Debussy maybe, or whatever. So it was fantastic. It was, how could this man, like, with almost no sight, play? Never has he played so note perfectly.
Mm.
And so I'm doing the Transcendental Etudes in comparison by Franz Liszt, the 12 Etudes, and there had by that time been many LP recordings of them.
Mm-hmm.
Never by Rubinstein. And I get there and I said, that's what I mean. The thing is on, Matt's waiting for the recordings to come to put it up, one of them at least to begin. I'm taking out, or my assistant was, all the stuff that Rubinstein played the night before. I changed the format.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people must have been listening for the next program of recorded performances in comparison of the Liszt Etudes.
Yes.
Liszt has his fans,
Mm-hmm.
so I changed it. I walked in. Matt, I was at an incredible concert last night, probably the last one Rubinstein ever will play in New York, and we're going to do him.
Mm-hmm.
We start with Opus 31 number 3, and maybe one movement, I don't remember what we got in, you know, every one of the cycles that he played. And Matt, being so laid back, Matt Edwards, his name, and many people still may know the name, was born to be on the air. And he really learned a great deal through this, and he was able to, you know, be my, who was Johnny Carson's fellow, I don't know, you know, my...
I'll think of his name. Ed McMahon.
He was my Ed
Yes.
McMahon. And so, at the end of the show, I walked back toward my desk, quite a little tiny walk that, you know, and I passed all of the people working there, the traffic and the this, and I didn't say anything because, as we once said, after you do a live event, there's always some sort of tiredness, some fatigue that just, you know, and also, did I do a good job? Also, this was a deviation from the format. I walked by, and there was Betty, the receptionist, whom I liked, and I get in my office, which is my own office with all the recordings. I don't have anyone there, just me. And my bell rings on the phone. David, it's Arthur Rubinstein. He would love to talk to you. Betty, don't give me that bull. Why would Rubinstein, you know, call me? No, she said, it really is Mr. Rubinstein. I know for sure. I pick it up. I'm overwhelmed. Mr. Duval, I have had many people talk about me, but never as well as you have. I listened to your program. My daughters told me that I would really be interested in hearing the Liszt Transcendentals, and all of a sudden, to my surprise, it's all about my concert last night. I am so happy that I did not sleep that day, because after my concerts, I like to sleep late. And they insisted, don't miss this show. Of course, remember, he didn't live in New York.
Okay.
And
so where was he calling you from?
no, he was calling me from the Drake, where he lives in New York.
Yes.
But, you know, he'd be off for another concert to some other place. So I said, Mr. Rubinstein, I'm just so touched, you know. He said, yeah, and you're right, by the way. I play those pieces better now than ever. I like that the recordings exist, but I don't listen to my recordings.
Right.
I understand that very well.
Yes.
And how would you have lunch with me on Friday? RCA is giving me a little lunch with some people at the Pierre, and I would love to sit next to you and talk. Of course. Now, he doesn't know at all that I am the man who had given him the Shivanovsky photos.
Yes, I remember. And I looked to see that photo in volume 1, which is, I guess, Is it from my young years that the
From
photo
my young
appears?
years.
And there it is. Yes.
Yes, just as I said, no attribution to me.
Yes.
He didn't
Mhm.
remember, I'm sure. All I did was give it to him the
Mhm.
minute he asked for it. And indeed, this is a man who always knew what a brain he must have,
Mhm.
what he was after.
Yes.
He didn't say to me in the letter, I want this for my book.
Mhm.
He was just saying, all of my photographs of my beloved friends are gone with the Nazis.
Mhm.
So, again, by this time, I'm not having any head higher than my own, like in the first meeting several years
Yes.
before. I'm just so happy to go to
Mhm.
dinner with him, and I'm now, on the air really. I could
Mhm.
really ask him for an interview,
Mhm.
which again, I didn't. I don't know why.
Okay.
I did, yes, I did. I remember I did. I called the Waldorf Towers, no, years later. That was not, Mrs. Rubinstein was there at the RCA party too. Anyway, so that was the story. Here's something that I may not have told you.
Mhm.
He told me a few things that since being blind, he was not able to read Proust and Joyce. He read high-class stuff,
Mhm.
especially he didn't want to waste his time on trash.
Mhm.
What was one of his regrets? His regrets certain works that he never learned.
Do you know what some of those pieces were?
No,
Okay.
I never asked or remembered. And then he had said, because of my career, there are so many works of chamber music, and he did a good deal of chamber music, and concertos, of course. But he didn't know by composers, symphonies and things like that. He never had a chance to really
Mhm.
get into it, and he did after he retired. That's all he did was surround himself with the music he never knew.
Mm.
But anyway, getting back to me and him, he was sitting right next to me, and that photograph is taken
Yes.
with my 1970s or whatever, the glasses, the long, what do you call them?
Sideburns?
Sideburns.
Yes. I think you're wearing sunglasses in the photo. Is it
They were
possible?
tinted, yes.
Okay. All right.
I had to be cool at all
I
times.
see. All right. Yes.
Being cool is very important
Yes.
because
Uh-huh.
it's based on, my dictum of that if you don't have any flair,
That's right.
you're not going to have any fun in life.
Okay. Yes.
That's why I love Nooch. He has, in his own way, he has flair all the time. And by the way, we just talked about him before.
Well, we're talking about Robert Tanucci, one of the great lieutenants in the Duval Army.
Oh, what a man. He's a general.
Who a year ago, I only noticed them a week ago, 2 new 1-hour segments with you and Rosalind Turek that I've never heard, that I think are really
I
remarkable.
don't think I've ever heard him.
No, they're,
And this is here he got him. Where, I don't know, but
Yes.
the point is that everyone can hear. It has nothing to do with my interview that's published in the Reflections from the Keyboard.
no, these are distinct from those.
These are distinct,
Mhm.
and I don't remember them at all. I
Wow.
can't wait to hear them sometime.
Okay. I enjoy them. I listened to
And
them more
have
than
them
once.
transcribed, perhaps.
Yes.
Yes. I call him Senator Nucinator because he should be a great legislature
Yes.
for the arts,
Mhm.
legislator, and he's always on my mind one way or another, as you know.
Yes.
We've talked about him endlessly. haven't
Very
we?
interesting man.
Very interesting. Robert Tanucci. So here it comes again out of the blue. In the air was somewhere is me with Rosalind Turek,
Yes.
and you don't know where it is. It's not in a radio station. It's not.
Yes.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't come back to me. So I go to the Rubinstein, as I said, and he said, I can't read Proust. I can't. So someone has to do it. And worst thing of all, though, is that when I walk around the streets of New York, I can't see the beautiful women, and
Mhm.
this I can't bear.
Yes.
And but he said, so I'm so bored. This is the actual exact story that
Yes.
I don't know if I told it exactly this way, but this is exact.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so bored that I now practice all the spots that I've never practiced all my life. Did you
Mhm.
notice the Carnival? I said, well, Maestro, you played the Paganini section better than you've ever played it and faster.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yes, yes, I've never wanted to practice that.
Mm-hmm.
And all these little places that I want to make sure that I am not, that the people that listen to me and the critics don't think that here's just an old man. He was 90 then.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur Rubinstein we're talking about
Mhm.
on No Art, No Love. I'm with Jack Cole.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want anyone to think that this is just an old doddering man
Yes.
that's blind who's just can't give up the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly will give it up soon as I can't see
Mhm.
anything. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
His last recital, I believe, was in Venice at the La Fenice Theater,
Mm.
which is I've been there, and it was the world premiere of many operas, including many by Verdi, including La Traviata was, I think,
Mm.
first. A beautiful opera house
Mm-hmm.
in that exciting. He loved Venice.
Mm-hmm.
So here he was, so close to me, had a large head,
Mm-hmm.
and the hair was that beautiful silk and white,
Mm-hmm.
and he's very pink.
Mm.
And as I said on the first time we talked, when I didn't hold his hands, but the first time I did, when and I just couldn't believe the size and the pulpiness in a sense
Mm-hmm.
to make that beautiful singing tone. Okay, at the end of the session or the dinner,
Mhm.
I don't remember the food.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little talk from table to table about the rivalry with Horowitz.
Okay.
Because maybe he had just come back Horowitz to RCA again. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but it was always a fake rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had to leave, and he went to the elevator alone, walking alone out of this room, big room where the round tables
Mhm.
were. And it's something, this I don't remember, but Rubinstein says to me, "Oh, Mias, walk with me."
Mm.
And I left right after that because I'm not going to go back to a place where I'm not. The lunch seems to be over anyway. So, not his daughters, not his wife, no, and nobody is with him but me. And the elevator, there were three.
Mm.
He pushes, takes my hand. Arthur Rubinstein takes my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And he says this, get this, we will be friends forever.
Mm.
Never saw him again, of course.
Mm. Do you think his statement was also premonitory of the idea that he would not see you again?
Oh, he knew he would never see me again.
Yes.
But he wanted to let me know that
Yes.
I had made some impact.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Never saw him again.
Mm-hmm.
Because many people did. Martha Argerich and many
Mhm.
people who admired him came to his place. He had now changed women in his life
Mm.
to Annabelle Whitehead,
Mm.
who was like 45 when he met her, and he was 90.
Mm.
And she was very devoted to him, and of course, the children and Mrs. Rubinstein were not happy with it.
Right, yes.
It just shows to say that this was not a narcissistic man. He just could not live for himself.
That's an interesting distinction. Can you say more about that?
You say it, I don't know what to say.
Well, it sounds like, isn't there an Ayn Rand book called The Virtue of Selfishness?
Yes, of course.
Do you think it's somewhat akin to that the idea that if one...
I've read that Ayn Rand book. I've read her letters. Yesterday on television there was a terrible snide remark in a series about making a deal with the devil. That's like being with Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
I knew too many people that knew Ayn Rand as a very authentic person, including the late Alan Gotthelf, who was a close friend of mine and got to know me because he felt that in my radio shows and my performances, came to my classes at Juilliard. He died 5-6 years ago. I miss him every day. He's incredible. He wrote a very, very serious book also on Ayn Rand. Told me, that I wouldn't really understand it because you needed a real education in philosophy. Well, she was a very deep philosopher. I've read her terrible books. The novel especially that, they were such cardboard. But her thinking in many ways is very, very interesting. And she was a stunning force, by the way. Just listen to her. People fell in love with her every minute, Mike Wallace has an interesting on YouTube, an interviewer with her. Well, how did we come to her?
Well, you were talking about the notion that Arthur Rubinstein, perhaps in taking up the younger woman and pursuing his own requirements to the ostensible neglect of what we imagine to be the patterns of selflessness that are required for a noble person. Perhaps that there are some people that have to attend to the self in order to realize who they are. Is that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he may have been so rational about it and possibly so attracted to this very much younger woman. His memoirs made it clear how much he loved Nella, but she was 22 or something when he met her, and he was already 45. He was a great lover of women, and the movie maker of Citizen Kane, what was his name? Very famous, of course.
You mean Orson Welles?
Orson Welles, in an interview, said that Rubinstein was an amazing lover. He had hundreds of women in his lifetime. He could not resist. So I don't know, what that means, but he certainly, I know from people that have told me that he hit on many women without, he just had no inhibitions about it. Let's say I would take 6 months to ask someone for a date, and then 3 years to touch them in a movie, with the hand.
Well, that brings an interesting point. He seems to come from an era and an age, and he seems to embody the notion of the choreography of romance. And yet he seems personally to absolve himself from that, though he represents it to so many people. What do you make of that conundrum?
I don't know. It's a complicated man who put things into compartments, and that he wanted to, as he said in his memoirs, I live unconditionally. I would be happy in jail or prison.
That I understand. Wasn't he understood to have said that after his suicide attempt?
Suicide attempt, which I believe was just a sham.
You think there was an apocryphal thing?
Yeah. Rubinstein had a nervous system that acclaimed himself to everyone that was in the room, and everyone knew it was him, and they would come over and they would not be like, oh, I don't want to bother you. They were just drawn to him, and there's hundreds of stories that I could tell about other people that knew Rubinstein for a minute on the street or something, and he always came up with the big puff. The flair. There's a man of the highest flair level. Well, he's married for 45 years. He's bored with, certainly, maybe he has a libido that doesn't stop. Maybe, personal lives after 40 years of marriage are not necessarily erotic lives. Maybe he had to have that. I don't know. Life is so complicated when it comes to the sexes, and women are very different than men. They have nothing in common with them except if they have a child together, and then the man is just usually, as Willard Beecher would say, he never really wanted it. Certainly my father didn't give a damn about having 2 children, but the mother did. and that's usually the case.
Mhm.
A man doesn't even want to get married usually. I'm only speaking for myself who have been married, but I mean,
Mhm.
gee, it's so personal, and you can't find that many people that would have a libido similar to yours, but I think Rubinstein's was a very high one, that
Mhm.
he needed to touch many people, just like he touched me,
Mhm.
well, with his hands. They just put.
Mhm. Mm.
I touch every time I rose. I touch the
Mhm.
pedal before I, just like Anton Rubinstein used to do.
Yes. And yet, wasn't Arthur Rubinstein's name, who was it who gave him that nickname, the last civilized man?
Clifton Fadiman,
Yes.
the last of the civilized men, are right here, you and me, and the people that are listening to us, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, of course, women are the superior gender.
How so?
Oh, only because they're so mysterious to me. Still,
Yes.
I love that.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. Do you think they are mysterious to themselves?
No.
No.
They're calculated to themselves. They know exactly what
they're doing? All right, okay.
I've studied women very closely,
Yes. Uh-huh.
knowing that my mother was a woman of tremendous passion, that if she was born at the right time,
Mhm.
had the right education, she would have been, the head of, or president of the United States. I don't
Mhm.
know. She had that power.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
She certainly had arguments with me every minute,
Mm.
but never about intellectual things. I don't think she ever even asked a question about Beethoven.
Okay. Then what were the foundations of the arguments?
Her control over me.
I see. Okay.
I mean, a boy that doesn't take the garbage out is a bad boy.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I mean, I didn't cut the grass.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We didn't have, anyone doing that but me.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh no, she was amazingly tough, and she had to and did dominate even a very dominant sibling of hers, a male sibling. He couldn't get his way. Now that's because my grandfather, she was my and he lived with us.
Mhm.
It's a whole very complex thing when you live with a grandfather. Today they throw him into the adult nursing
Yeah.
home.
Mm-hmm.
Poor people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they talk about families. Families are the issue of lots of problems in the world, inevitably. Wars begin in the family life. This is not a new idea from
Mhm.
anyone, is it?
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to Rubinstein for a minute,
Mhm.
because we've had two stories about the great
Mhm.
pianist,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that the memoirs really have a lot of interesting criticism of different players, but nothing, of course, of himself. He doesn't criticize himself.
Mm-hmm.
All the greatest pianists he indeed criticizes, from Horowitz to Friedman to Cortot.
I've been through his memoirs. Now, who are some of the people that leap out in your mind that are remarkable in his criticism?
Actually, nobody.
Okay.
Nobody. There's some really vicious criticism of Raoul, what's his name? Kozinski? No. Yeah. There's criticism of Friedman. There's criticism of Horowitz.
Mm-hmm.
Horowitz traumatized him, you see, when he
Mm.
came and heard him in Paris in the early 20s. This is a man now, nearly 50, who hasn't practiced his whole life, but who is, a hero.
Yeah, yes.
Remember, there were no recordings. When
Yes.
recordings changed everything. You could, if you played with some bravura,
Mm-hmm.
you could change every other note. Nobody ever heard the notes.
Yes.
I mean, the music.
Mm-hmm.
Music is a product of the recording.
Mm-hmm.
You could now hear Rachmaninoff play his own Bumblebee for 1 minute,
Mm-hmm.
and you say absolutely fabulous, and then you hear that 4 measures are uneven.
Mm.
Then you go to the 1930 recording, let's say, of the Bumblebee
Mm-hmm.
by Rimsky-Korsakov from his opera Sadko,
Mm-hmm.
and you hear the transcription of Rachmaninoff played by Horowitz. Exactly 1 minute and 19 seconds, same thing, let's say. Better. You hear John Browning, it's even more,
Yes.
but not as good, but it's better.
Yes.
Every, you know. And then you also know that Van Cliburn certainly could play it, but could never play it as polished as, let's say, Joseph Levine, which I don't know of any recording. I would love to have heard it. I love to hear the great polish of tremendous technicians, because they really worked for that. Cortot, of course, could never play like that. It was a great visionary, an artist who played the piano. I said to Horowitz, after giving a class at Juilliard on Cortot, and I had played the Chrysleriana, which unfortunately he doesn't do the repeats, and in this case I think you need them. However, it's magnificent. I was having dinner downstairs with Mr. Horowitz alone, where he had, of his painting collection, he had some beautiful Rouaults behind me. Those he kept. He had sold so many when he wasn't playing those 12 years. And I said, oh, I played the Chrysleriana for my kids today. Well, these kids were my children. And that's the best kind of child to have, by the way. You get them at 18, and they're already well ill-formed, and some of them are just fantastic. They didn't get, you know, bad parents or anything, or they lived in the right country or whatever. And they went out of their minds for Cortot. One young woman who was going to leave the piano, who was a real artist at the instrument, but I can't make a living in this, or can't, you know. That day I played some Chopin of Cortot for her in the class. She comes up to me, I didn't even know her. And she said, Mr. Duval, I was going to leave music after this semester. Cortot has saved me. I will never leave music. If anyone can play like that, I want to be part of it.
What was her name?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm just wondering if she had kept to her pledge.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I don't think it was a big career, but that, you know, a big career does not exist for Eleanor Roosevelt if she was a pianist.
Right.
And was living. You cannot have a big career unless you are, you know, two great commerce pianists, you know, from China, who has, you know, had tremendous luck and skill and everything going their way, obviously. But there are many, many wonderful pianists who should have a career, and if someone gave me their lottery winnings, I would make certain that every city in America would now have a new concert hall. I mean, you could do this with the lottery. I mean, think of it.
Yes.
You could revive the world of the piano by one gift to you. I wouldn't take a dime. I'd make sure that everyone was able to have enough money to practice properly, and we would have halls, and we would have a series, not just in Philadelphia, where for 20 years I've been doing lectures on the piano series. But Cleveland, my God, have you ever heard of a piano recital there in the last one? I think I was the last to give one.
Okay.
And Indiana? Oh, we're culturally dry. There's no, did you ever hear of doing an all Schubert vocals recital in New Orleans?
I have not, but maybe it has been done. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
What about even a violin recital? They're very rare.
Yes.
Here you have one of the world's great literatures. I'm speaking of the vocal literature, the violin literature, the piano literature. Piano, of course. I have a little series at the church every Tuesday. I hope someone that's listening to this comes. We go on through May or around in the middle of May, and my goodness, we had a Chrysleriana. You always ask me how the class went, and I said we had a Chrysleriana by a young woman around 30 that was stupendous.
Mhm.
But getting back to Chrysleriana, at dinner, I'm with Horowitz alone, and Mrs. Horowitz is somewhere else that night, and of course she had a little socialite in her, you know. Not him, oh God. And so we were alone, and I said, the Cortot it was just visionary. The kids were out of their minds. And he said, well, Mike Chrysleriana, isn't it visionary too?
Mhm.
I said, well, of course yours is, especially
Mhm.
the 1969 recording, not the other one.
Uh-huh.
So he knew I had heard both, of course.
Did he regret that you put one above the other?
No, he was having fun.
Oh, I see. Okay. Mhm.
He loved Cortot. I said, what did Cortot think of your playing, Maestro? Because he knew him in the 20s in Paris.
Mhm.
Oh, Cortot loveth my playing.
Mm.
Loveth.
Did he say that?
Yeah,
Did he
well,
ask
yeah,
you?
loveth, yeah.
Wow.
Cortot loveth my playing. And once in an interview, Cortot said about Horowitz, that Horowitz knows how to work.
Mm. Mhm.
So true, so true.
Yes.
Horowitz knew how to love a piece, and unlike me, stay with it until it was done.
But if I may, you have given me evidence of many pieces that you've stayed with till they are done. And I've been hearing a very interesting report to you from about a piece that you recorded. And I have the recording.
Don't you listen to it?
Can I confess something?
You did?
I have heard it. And I know I always try to follow Dubalian
Well, how
commands.
is it?
And that's the one time I did not follow one of your orders. I really relished it. You should take great pride in it. So I've been hearing you say the mystery now is to know that you knew a piece so consummately that you could produce a recording of it, and I have the vinyl version of it.
There's only a vinyl
Okay.
version.
And that now you are relearning it, yet it seems to you like a new piece, including in your own motor system.
Yeah, this is it's the Cacciatorian Piano Sonata.
Yes.
Composed in '61 by Cacciatorian, who dedicated it to another one of these wonderful composers, Russian composers, who wrote over 25 symphonies, maybe 40. His name was Mayakovsky, Nikolai Mayakovsky. Gone. I mean, people thought of him as a very important composer. Gone. No one has played this idea of the limitless repertoire we have, and the marvelous works that we could maybe. Well, come on, Beethoven did harm in the sense that he's so great that no one has ever come close in a symphony. But I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't have a great time listening to it once or twice.
Your recording not only has great vitality and clarity, but also the recording itself doesn't give any quarter, meaning one can really hear the sound. It's as if it's looking over your shoulder. There's very little ambient perspective from the microphones. I feel like it's in the room with you. Was that consciously decided? Do you remember that?
It was the way he recorded it
Yes.
in California, in what's this town? Famous town near Los Angeles, or his studio, Genesis Studio. His name was Robin Comagere. I don't know if he's alive anymore. He did Genesis, and he did some wonderfully neglected repertoire. Sometimes I would do liner notes for like Reinberger's Piano Concerto.
Oh.
It's a fabulous piece.
Yes.
The Fifth Concerto by Anton Rubinstein. It's his Emperor. It's an
Okay.
E flat. It's just fantastic work.
Yeah.
Better than number 4 that continued having a life, which you said Oscar Levant had played. As you
Yes, that's the only
Are
recording
you telling me you liked my recording?
I did. I admired very much. Not only that, it still sits on my turntable, meaning I have not removed it. So to our audience, I highly recommend that our esteemed host, Mr. Duvall, I would have you go directly to his Cacciatorian recording on the Genesis label. And
Is that on YouTube too?
I bet you it may.
I don't want it to be.
Well, I can't say if it is or it isn't. I have a vinyl record copy of it,
Well, what is it called?
Vinyl.
Vinyl, of course.
Yes. Mhm.
I'm getting so excited.
Well,
Vinyl is
yeah.
in now, isn't it?
Well, yes. I had a friend who was steeped in the business of that, and all I had to do one day was mention it, and the next day he went into the archives and pulled it out, and there it was.
What a great man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, this is news to me. It makes it more complicated now.
You mean for your studies?
Yeah, because I'm trying to study my nervous system to see how come I can't get this back as fast as I can, and I don't want to hear it because I want to play it better than the recording.
Okay.
Well, I don't remember much about the recording. There's a couple of places where I know that were edited,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to leave town and he then had control over it. I didn't okay the editing or didn't, it's just whatever you want, man.
Mm-hmm.
As Quentin Chris said, whatever Thames Television wants for me, I want for them. Whatever Thames Television wants for themselves, I want for me.
Well, I couldn't hear any splices. I had no
No,
idea that
no,
they
he
were
couldn't
made.
hear me. He was
Yeah.
a very good man.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted the transcription of the Saber dance on there,
Mhm.
but I tried so hard to, and the deadline was coming up, and I extended it, and I had to go to California to do it, and the only thing I remember about him, I can't remember his face. Isn't that amazing?
Mm.
That's a very long time ago, and my body doesn't know that piece anymore. And that is very, and yet there's things that make me feel that the body does know it.
When you made the recording, were you playing it from memory, or did you have the score in front of you?
No, I did it from memory.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I knew was I was not in love with the piano,
Mm.
and I also did not have extended time. I think there was 2 days or 3.
Okay.
Possible. There's a lot of pieces on there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sonatina, Little Valse Caprice, a magnificent work, which I heard recently someone play it, and it seemed so much better than mine. Some Armenian pianist playing the poem by Khachaturian, 19th, beautiful piece.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of problems in all of his music, and maybe I'm trying to solve certain structural problems now that I didn't, because I asked myself, how come I didn't realize that the thematic material in this piece is so striking?
Mm.
I'm trying to ask myself, is it because I was also learning so much other Khachaturian that these dissonant minor seconds and major sevenths were so much in my ear that I didn't realize that this is an exotic piece of Oriental,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
of Eastern vintage, so to speak?
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me you liked it? Now I'm confused.
I did like it very much. Yes.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe it.
I feel, again, it's a strange thing to have been given a prohibition by someone for one not to study something that they have done. And I'm sorry, David, I think it's the first time in our whole association where you expressly asked me to do something, and I did it anyway.
But I don't think that I've asked you that many times to not do something.
Well, I mean, I think you have been a good advisor, a good interpreter of many things that I've reported to you. And
Well, nobody has ever reported so many fascinating things.
I don't know about that, but I remember thinking, well, will I be able to resist listening to that record now, especially since it's become prohibited?
Yeah, and it took maybe a month to find the music,
Yes.
and I knew that I would go back to that. Never in all these years did I care to go back to it.
What do you think called you
I
to
don't
it now?
know.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Remember the portrait I did of Khachaturian?
Yes. Yes.
I did it when I was working on those pieces to get me through.
Mhm.
I looked at the guy, and it kept, I'm doing it, I'm working on all these things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in a certain way, you see, the two arts were working together. But
Yes.
after it was over, I never wanted to hear the goddamn thing again.
Yes.
And then once I did, oh no. But once again, Misha Dichter is quite right. Never hear your recordings or your piano playing on a day you're not happy about yourself. Only
Oh.
listen on a day you're happy about yourself. He's very good advice.
That is interesting advice. Just to play devil's advocate, do you think that the past self that is represented on the record could enlighten the sad self and make that sad self happier? Or do you find that his formula is always right? Have you tried that? Meaning, gone to your own recordings when you are not in a good state of mind, and does his advice always get reinforced that it's just you just don't feel sympathetic to
Yeah,
it?
it always works.
It always works.
It always works.
Okay.
It's a real, you should not hear yourself if you're not in a good mood. You'll
Okay.
hear everything that, because in every time you've ever practiced, there's a certain, Eschenbach talks about in a performance of Rubinstein by Schumann that Horowitz played an A flat that just resounded for hours. It went all through the hall for him. There was nothing else in that recital but that A flat.
Mm.
Something about a touch, about the way you hit a chord. Sometimes the hands are not exactly together,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not happy with that, or it could have been, I don't know. It's so complicated, this
Yes.
piano playing business.
It is.
You're a wonderful pianist. You know what you go through with each piece,
True. Mm-hmm.
and at least you can sight read well.
To a degree. I must say I sometimes abuse that. It's hard to resist going to the piano and reading through a lot.
It's a great thing it's a wonderful thing for getting a lot of repertoire into your ear.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful thing for having a good time,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a very guilt-ridden thing for knowing that the second time you may not be as interested in it.
Yes, I would say that is very much like my problem with
Yeah.
that. Mm-hmm.
Horowitz understood all of this so well. He knew that he had to love to the last minute,
Mm-hmm.
to the last measure,
Mm-hmm.
the 1 minute Scriabin prelude or Scarlatti sonata.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take so many psychological things into consideration
Yes.
if you are a piano player.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yes.
So what else do you want to talk about today? We can go on forever.
We could. I don't know that I.
Want to?
I don't know about that. I just have trying to think if there was any particular things. I think we've covered a fair amount of ground today. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to before we go, I want to do something in some of our shows
Yes.
that is easy to do and may bring in a revelation or two,
Mm.
such as ask each other point blank, what do you think of Verlaine or Mallarmé or Ezra Pound? It could be, I don't know a thing of Ezra Pound or something, you know what I mean?
I do.
It'd be interesting to see how we think of certain people.
A
You could
particular person or a particular war or a particular person? Okay, do you want to go first?
Well, we were just talking about Khachaturian. I mean, I could tell you that, I do believe that he had no more than 4 or 5 ideas
Yes.
in his whole life.
Yes.
And I know a lot of his music, because if I record something, I want to make sure I know a lot. And there's a lot of really marvelous melodies
Mm.
in Spartacus, in Ghana, in the Waltz from Masquerade. Wonderful stuff. So, and then there's the beautiful Bell Symphony, 50 minutes. And then there's some horrible stuff. Just, it couldn't be worse.
Mm.
And he just didn't have enough ideas. And then, let's say in the sonata, I'm coming to grips in my working of this big 3 movements, 22 minutes or 24 minutes of 3 movements. And is it overworked, you see?
Mm.
That's always a big problem with a composer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Schumann has in certain pieces.
Do you feel you're asking that about the Khachaturian now more than you did when you learned it?
Yeah. Because when I learned it, you're learning it as an interpreter and an end product.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just learning it, relearning it for me.
Yes.
I don't have to. I had a deadline. I had to. I came to grips with it. Never.
Mhm.
So now maybe this is why I'm talking about
Okay.
it.
All right, so does that count for today's episode? Are we imagining that you have been asked about Khachaturian, or should we start anew and exchange 2 names for the finale of today?
So we'll do a taste of it for other programs.
Okay.
You will end it with. Let me see. I'll come up with. So what do you think of Faulkner? I've never read a thing.
That's remarkable that you bring that up, because you interested me when you telephoned me this week and said that you were very moved by hearing Shelby Foote speak.
Who's great, talks about Faulkner in
Yes.
all the time.
And not only does he have a great speaking voice, but there's a tremendous achievement of integration in Foote, I feel.
And
And
serenity.
serenity,
Oh, this man he is wonderful.
a reconciliation of even what a lot of political correctness would say are things that were ugly, that had to be dismissed, yet were part of a culture that he was able to a degree, see beauty within those things.
He's so open to everything.
Yes.
He's not going to, and not because he's trying to escape the issue. He doesn't. He says, the artist who has a lot to worry about. Sometimes they may appear self-centered. However, you've got to do your work.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say your wife wants a new coat. Well, I am not about to do some cheap fiction to get her a new fur coat. She'll have to wear the old one or go cold. Or the children, if they're hungry, well, make them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Don't go down to the deli and get roast beef because we can't afford it.
You're saying you're attributing this to Faulkner?
I'm attributing this to Selby Foote, the great narrator of the Civil War.
Yes. So that if I were to answer your question about Faulkner, then with what you just said, made me think about the interview he gave to the Paris Review, which has a similar temperament about the devotion of the artist making art higher than any other cause, any other moral aspect of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say, if I were to answer to today's question in a little potted resume version, I would say he comes through. He certainly gives himself. There's a music in the language. That sounds like such a cliche, but when I read him, if I were to see a passage, I don't think I could ever mistake him for someone else. And I think it's immeasurably local, and yet will survive. And I think in that way he's somewhat like Ives to me. Ives is so immeasurably local, localized in time and place, and yet I think it will still somehow survive universally, even if people don't realize what songs Ives is quoting at a certain point, or what Confederate lore is haunting the mists and the Spanish moss in a Faulkner passage. It still somehow can be immensely local and tied to place and time, but will be universal. That'd be my answer.
It's a wonderful answer, my goodness. And it surely coincides with that philosophy of Mississippi, so to speak.
Yes.
Two Mississippians. He lives in Oxford, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
However, he talks a lot about him as an influence. And when you said, come up with a name, I mean, we can come up with any name.
Yes,
I could have
yes.
said Bacher, but it must have been the listening to Selby Foote talking
Foote,
about Faulkner,
Mm-hmm.
showing on his complete works in his bookshelves.
Yes.
That I said to myself, still, David, you have never read any Faulkner. And so that must have been
I'll have to bring you
the
some Faulkner.
unconscious thing coming to ask you to talk about him.
I'm going to bring you The Unvanquished. We have read a passage from The Unvanquished here on our program. I think it's a wonderful starting point.
Oh, good. I need a starting point. And, everyone understands him as, one of the great modernists who is from that locality.
Yes.
That world of Mississippi that they seem to have loved.
And I think it goes back to where we began today, in terms of no art, no life, and meaning that we make the life the art, the ability to reconcile the seemingly irreconcilable, the things that we may think are tragic, the things that we think, if only we could disavow this part of our memory, then our lives would be golden. But it seems to me that Faulkner knows how to reconcile those things so that nothing that befalls the artist is ever wasted. It's always as it needed to be.
With that magnificent thought, really, I could ponder that, even someone as simple as me.
Oh.
No art, no life. Please tell all of your friends about it to listen every week. to Substack, to Spotify, to
Yes,
YouTube.
YouTube, uh-huh.
I think that there's enough ideas out there. I think some people must have some ideas, right?
I
That-
think
That
so.
would coincide with what we talk about.
Yes.
We talked about Turek. Go to the YouTube and
Well, yes,
listen
the
to.
new 2 hours worth of Rosalind Turek
Yes,
with you.
given to
on
us.
YouTube, yes.
Given to us by
By,
Robert Tanucci,
Mhm.
and I still am just amazed at what I don't know about what I did.
mm-hmm.
So, if you work hard, I guess that happens.
That's it's the mystery of one's own prolificness must come boomeranging back.
I think so, in a
Yes.
way. It's just fantastic to read about these greats and
Yes.
read what they're reading is just the best.
It is.
Jack, thanks for
Thank you, David.
always being with me, and see you next week. David Duval,
I'm Jack Cole. Till next time,
no art, no life.
no art, no life. Thank you.